Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for January 20th. All right, so thank you so very, very much for being here. I continue to receive tremendous support and understanding from all of you, and I'm ever so grateful. Thank you very, very much. Today, I want to take a look at the relationship between Merrick Garland and Jack Smith, and I want to look at the energy between Merrick Garland, Jack Smith versus Trump. So that's what I'm zooming in on today. So let's see what I can find out. First I'm going to check the dynamics of the relationship between Merrick Garland and Jack Smith. It There's a lot of chatter about how um, Merrick Garland needs to get a move on. He needs to get going on this, etc. And I'm not saying it hasn't taken a long time. Sorry, the cat's in my room. He's just dropping stuff all over the place. Ignore the sound. um, but ultimately, Smith has to complete his investigation and submit his report. So, let's take a look and see how that's going and what's going on there. I also think, though not in a big way, because as somebody said, this isn't even apples to oranges. This is apples to steak. Um, the whole document deal between what Biden had versus Trump. But I think that also creates a situation where there's sort of a double checking on the double check, if you were, because you don't want a defense that can say, well, this is exactly the same as what Trump did. Why is he being picked on? Okay. All right, let's get started, shall we? I want to take a look at. I'm going to start with Merrick Garland and Jack Smith and their relationship. Garland Smith relationship, Garland Smith relationship, Garland Smith relationship. Okay. We're starting off with the Three of Pentacles. Okay, so you have an energy of, group work, really professional people doing group work, really highly trained people, masters in their field kind of people. And they are working together and they are working in harmony to create the perfect product. And the perfect product is going to be the report, which leads to the indictments on Trump. So, like, really awesome cards here. That was followed by the Sun, followed by the World, followed by the Ace of Wands, followed by the Six of Cups. Okay? So, this is sort of the story that these cards are telling us. They're saying the work continues, okay? And it is going very well. The product is coming together. There's absolute movement on this. This is not a situation where things have slowed down. In fact, since Smith has come on board, they have sped up. But there's also been a huge influx of information. I mean, the January 6th report was released, and yes, granted, we're assuming that it has been scoured through for every single detail that the special counsel needs, but there is a cohesive energy about what's going on. Part of what they're doing is truly they are leaving no stone unturned because they want to shut this down. Okay, they want to shut that kind of behavior down. They want to shut down this sort of whole, if I don't like what an election result is, I can just say it's not real. They want that nonsense shut down. They also want, even with the document case, this is about, not, it's not so much that he had them bad enough, but it's how deliberate and belligerent he was about not returning them, about lying, about, that kind of stuff. They also want to bring that to a standstill. I think the indictments, when they come out, are going to be, what they call those talking indictments, where you get a whole bunch of the story when they are, filing that indictment. Six of Cups. So this is very definitely an energy of, going back over the things that have been done before. There's going to be, for some reason, it's like, a lot of Trump's behavior is so consistent with Trump's behavior. I've always called him a one-trick pony, but he really has sort of a very limited um, selection of responses to given situations, right? And so they are also looking at how he has handled previous legal action, previous depositions, those kinds of things, to get a real handle, a real read on, you know, what we have going forward. I've just heard that Trump is going to, thank you very much, he is going to try to drag this all the way to the Supreme Court. But like literally, I'm seeing papers with the word denied stamped on them. So I think um, it doesn't matter how far he appeals this thing, it very much feels like it's not going to get him a different answer. And the answer is going to be, yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff you're guilty of, and this is a problem. Ultimately, kind of cut. The American people are going to be well pleased with the results. They're going to be well pleased with the information. And it is incredibly frustrating. I do understand and appreciate that to the best of my ability sitting here on Canadian soil. But this is one of those times where speed is not sort of the essence as much as making sure that what is done in such a way so that there's no wiggle room. Okay. Um, the next two cards are the Empress and the Star. So ultimately, this is going to turn out okay. And the relationship between Garland and Smith continues to be strong and working. They really do, I think I've said this before, they really do view the law in a very, very similar way. They're very kind of clear headed about how the law should be treated, and what their role is in terms of ensuring that the laws are followed. And so you have two men here who are like simpatico, right? I mean, they're on the same page and they're moving towards the same goal. It definitely feels like um, the Biden thing has thrown a slight wrench into it, because I mean, even on the surface, it's not the same thing, but it's similar enough that the Republicans can make a really big, huge deal about this. And you want to make sure that everything very much looks like it is above board and people are being sort of treated equally under the law for offenses that are equal. And that's the difference, okay? Because Biden's offenses are not equal, if you will, to Trump's offenses pertaining to documents that have been found where they shouldn't be. I gotta say, too, maybe somebody at some point should just take a little bit of a look at the National Archives and find out how come these documents can go missing and nobody kind of knows they're missing. That just seems bizarre, right? I mean, if I lend you a book, I know you have the book. If you haven't returned the book, I know you haven't returned the book. But it seems with the National Archives, it's like stuff goes out, and in some instances, they don't seem to have, I don't know, maybe like a particularly efficient way to cross check and make sure that what went out comes back in. Just saying. Now I got to pick up cards, they're all over the floor. Hold on. Okay, so not surprisingly, These are the two cards that fell out. So the King of Pentacles, which we know is my card for Trump, and the Five of Pentacles kind of speaks for itself, right? This is a card about, in this case, it really is a card about him, Trump, um, being so stubborn and almost amplifying his own injury and failing to see that, you know, hi there, boy, failing to see that there are ways for him to get a better result if he would just shut the hell up, but apparently he doesn't know how to do that. All right, all right. Let's take a look at Garland Smith versus the former guy, because that definitely feels like that's really what we want to know when it comes right down to it, right? Is this thing going forward? Are there going to be indictments? And maybe somebody will let me know when that might look like. I have to tell you, it really feels like after the middle of March, things are just going to get really difficult for a whole bunch of people. I still maintain that Fani Wills, and the indictments out of Georgia, I think that is going to, I think that's going to come together and happen early February. Okay, it's interesting that the the group of people that the jury that was sort of gathering, seeing the information coming in, that they had issued their report, but they have chosen, Bonnie Wills has chosen to not release that report to the public, even though that is what the jurors wanted. So she's reviewing it. So that's kind of interesting. I think it feels as if there were a significant number of recommendations, and I think part of what's going on now is they're trying to figure out the best way to kind of bring everybody in under the same net, if you will, or how they want to do that. Okay, let's take a look at Merrick Garland, Jack Smith, and Donald Trump, and what we can see there. Garland Smith Trump, Garland Smith Trump, Garland Smith Trump. Okay. Interestingly, we're starting off with the World card again. So again, there is every intention by special counsel and the Department of Justice to bring this thing to a close, all right? But they're not doing it willy-nilly. It's like, the four elements, right? There are different areas that have to be treated in certain ways to ensure that they get the very, very best results. The other thing to remember is every time Trump flies off the handle and yells and screams and yells and shoots out messages on his true social platform, he incriminates himself. I mean, he just does. I mean, let's for a moment just look at this Jeannie Carroll situation, right? I mean, he was being sued for defamation, and they're wiggling around with the whole, well, did he do it when he was president? Was it part of his job description as president? Nonsense. What does he do? When he's not president, just like a month or whatever ago it was, he repeats exactly the same thing on Trump Social. So it doesn't even matter anymore if The first one is determined that he was acting as president, although I don't see how that would hold water. He just did it to himself again. Okay. And so his emotions, the more wound up and kind of crazy Trump gets, the more that becomes sort of piled against him. And um he is so out of control, okay, that really nobody can rein him in. Nobody can kind of harness him and get him back to a place where he's not spiraling out of control and just saying whatever the hell he wants to come shooting out of his mouth. The special counsel has the goods. Okay, they absolutely have the goods. What they're going to be working on is making sure that it is presented in a way that has complete balance, that is not biased one way or the other, simply that states the rules, states the law, and that's it. Okay. And so rest assured, from what I can see, there are indictments coming, but they're not, listen, the Republicans are going to yell and scream how it's a witch hunt, anyways. But when rational people review, they're going to see that this really is simply about the law. It's just about the law. That's it. Um, As I said, the more Trump yells and screams, the worse he makes it for himself. He's never figured out that lesson. I don't know at his age if it's one he's going to learn. Make no mistake, Trump is going to, he's going to do everything and he can as he can. He's going to appeal. He's going to delay. He's going to this. He's going to that. But truly, Jack Smith and the Department of Justice are going to obliterate Trump's legal team. It doesn't matter if he even manages to get really good lawyers. They have so much against him that his kind of maneuvering is not going to be able to stand up to um, literally the legal brain power that is coming out with the investigation, the investigators, lawyers connected to that, and of course the indictments when they come. Okay. Part of what's going on with Trump is that he is really starting to get concerned um, about money. Okay, isn't it strange that Trump said he's running for president, and then we haven't heard boo? Apparently those rallies that he has cost around somewhere around $1 million per rally. Not exactly that I'm sure he actually ends up paying those bills, but and so he obviously doesn't have that kind of money at his disposal that he wishes to use for, um, kind of gearing up to his third presidential run. I don't think he's going to end up running. I don't think, okay, kitty cat, please do not eat my cord. Um, I don't think he's going to get that far, but, he's losing a lot of support. Did you hear the latest? Oh my goodness. Now he's yelling at the evangelicals because they did not have enough, they don't have faith in him, and they didn't fight hard enough to keep him in office. And like literally, this is his behavior, right? It's one of those, you can't break up with me because I'm breaking up with you first. That's the mentality you're dealing with here, and the evangelicals have just said enough. Um, he's damaged goods, okay? And he's got some really big donors who are saying, no, we are not aligning ourselves with Trump in this next run. You've got evangelicals saying, no, we're not aligning ourselves with Trump as we go forward to the next election. So he doesn't have kind of the deep pockets of donors, et cetera, that he had before. And I'm not saying all of his support is dissipating, but definitely he's taking a bit of a hit. Yeah. So look, you have the Ten of Pentacles followed by the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, for Trump, a lot of this has to do with money, with possessions. He's actually really scared of losing. Um, like stuff. Um, and, in a criminal lawsuit, I mean, I guess he could face some hefty fines. I don't know how that works. But, really what you're sort of looking at is jail time or something like that, should you have a guilty verdict. Um, interesting. Is Trump sort of trying to think, is he entertaining the notion of kind of creeping away in the night? He better not try it because the law is watching him. I'm telling you, I absolutely believe he is under surveillance. And even if the Secret Service people who are guarding him, are kind of inclined to help him, which I'm not so sure, but it's sort of the long arm of the law, okay, is watching. And that's one of the things that they are mindful of is, you know, us guys sitting out here in civilian life are not going to come up with any legal strategies or questions or ideas that haven't been tossed around ad nauseum within special counsel, within the Department of Justice. So if we're curious about whether he's going to try to skip the country, well, so are they. The difference is we can just be curious. They, on the other hand, have power. They have the ability to watch him, keep him under surveillance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's part of what's going on. Um, Nine of Cups. Okay, so the wish card, right? The wishes of the majority of the United States, the wishes of the Department of Justice, the special counsel, of just simply democracy and the rule of law. Those are going to supersede Trump's sort of shenanigans. And again, right now I'm just looking at the Merrick Garland, Jack Smith, but let's not forget he's got the Fonnie Wilson, he's got the Tish James thing, there are so many investigations against him. It's head spinning. You almost need a bloody flowchart in order to keep track of it all, and so he's got a lot coming at him, and it very much feels like you know the the brake, the foot is coming off of the brake. And once that happens, it's going to hit the gas and you're going to see things start to move forward fairly quickly. So, for right now, as I said, I think we're going to hear from Georgia. And I think we're looking at the beginning of February for that. And I think for Trump, I wouldn't be surprised if special counsel starts so they just subpoenaed everybody and their dog, right? To get additional information. So I wouldn't be surprised if, again, end of February, beginning of March, you don't see some real significant movement with those two investigations under Jack Smith's purview. Okay, that's what I know for now. For those of you who are interested in private readings, there's an email address below. It's soulprint888@gmail.com. Just send me a quick line saying, you want reading information, and I will send it out to you. I'm currently booking about the third week in February. I am taking some more time off from private readings in the early part of February. Things are there's a lot to do here, and I've kind of gone into reserve my energy mode. So thank you for your patience. Thank you so much for being here. Any new viewers, welcome. Until next time, take care, be well. We'll see you really, really soon. Bye-bye.